You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. Your story is still being written. Part 4. In our last episode, I talked about scribes, people who wrote things down on parchment. Now, for thousands of years and in biblical times, scribes were amazingly important people. They were like the media of history. They wrote things down accurately and recorded things, so much so that people read and reread what they had written, and that's where we get our scripture from. They created the news like newspapers and magazines. And today we have all sorts of things with the internet, television, along with the plethora of devices that we can communicate with. Scribes in Bible days could go into places that the ordinary person couldn't. For example, into palaces and in the presence of the king. And they would faithfully write down conversations and decrees. The New Testament scribes were not very popular with Jesus. He didn't want to hang around with them. They were a wee bit like the paparazzi these days who follow famous people and try and bring out the worst in them. They were like journalists who were incredibly biased. Jesus said to them, "Woe unto you, Pharisees and scribes." And the reason for this is because they knew the written law backwards. The problem was that they themselves couldn't keep the law, nor could they see, because they were blind, miracles right in front of their noses. And the other problem was that they were weighing people down with great burdens of trying to keep every little bit of the law, but they couldn't do it themselves. There's a term for this: hypocrites. They were historians of death, not of life. As Paul said to the Corinthians, the letter kills, but the spirit makes alive. They were champions of the full stop. But it was time to write a new story, and they couldn't see it. Miracles were right in front of them, but much, much more than that. And the Messiah had come, but they tried to shut him down. In your life, in my life, there is a new story being written. The past was good, but we can't live there. We can build on that. But it's time to let the pen write and let the story of our future roll out. My suggestion is to surround yourself with people who will champion you, cheerleaders if you like, people who will say things as they are, of course, but they believe in you and applaud when great things happen in your life. The problem was that the scribes wanted to put a full stop everywhere and constantly follow Jesus around to trip him up. It should have been a scribe heyday, opening blind eyes, unstopping deaf ears, raising the dead, healing cripples. There should have been pens or feathers, whatever they used, flying, smoke coming off the page. Instead, we had things like Jesus being condemned for healing someone on the Sabbath. But little did they know that they were talking to the one who gave them the pen, the one who wrote the law, the finger of fire who inscribed the 10 Commandments on tablets of stone on the mountain. Your story is still being written. It hasn't finished. There is a new day. You know, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the temple on the day that Jesus came and opened the book and turned to Isaiah. And this is what he read: "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favour." Wow. the atmosphere would have been electric. Every eye was upon him, even though they'd heard the scripture many times before. And then he adds, "This day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears." These scriptures came true today in front of you. Be encouraged, because this is not your final chapter. There is more for you. Your story is still being written. Let the finger of God write on the fleshly tablets of your heart today. God bless you.